Today I want to tell you about how the hammer dance became a social media safety net for me years before social media even existed. I'm Michael Douglas and welcome to this edition of Dr. Pundit. And before we get into today's show, a somber reflection. This video is being uploaded on September 11th, 2022, exactly 21 years after the terror attacks on the World Trade Center, the plane attack in the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and the downed plane in rural Pennsylvania. These were all part of the same dark day that pulled this country into the deepest depths it has ever known. And I just want to take this time to remember the victims and the families of those victims and the friends of those victims who were impacted and will be for the rest of their lives on that terribly dark day. As usual, I'm here to talk about music, not medicine. And on this edition of Dr. Pundit, we're going to be talking about the Top 10 Smash from 1990 by MC Hammer. At that time, he was known as MC Hammer before he switched his name because he got harder, I guess. He needed to build up more street cred as his songs were not exactly climbing the charts toward mid-decade, but MC Hammer 1990, You Can't Touch This. Everybody remembers that song. And it's just one of millions of songs, it seems like, that sample the 1981 hit on the R&B charts by, of course, the legendary Rick James. And I guess I can't let this show go on without at least acknowledging that this song also has its imprint on a recent #1 hit by Nicki Minaj, a track called Super Freaky Girl, just the latest of an interminable list of songs that sample that classic R&B hit from 1981. And of course, MC Hammer, at the time he came out with this song, You Can't Touch This, it was probably the best known of the lot. So it's a song that really affected me and I guess let my classmates know when I was a first-year medical student just how serious I was, a lover of music and a dancer. So the social media reference that this song engenders takes me right back to that summer of 1990 when there were so many hit songs, and it's a summer that I look back fondly because, I just graduated college. I was going to start medical school in 2.5 months or whatever. There was a lot of pent-up excitement, anxiety, you name it, having to basically leave where I lived to spend another 4 years deep in study when a lot of friends of mine who went right out into the workforce, 32 years ago. But it was a great time, but I was really keyed into a lot of popular music. There were a lot of groups out at that time. Wilson Phillips was big. The New Edition offshoot, who were New Jack Swing stalwarts in their own right, Belle Biv DeVoe, the list could go on and on. But I'm focusing on one song in particular, MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This. So before we started medical school, that 2-week period in early August before classes began was a time of not only settling in, but also consorting with, meeting with prospective classmates at various mixers and events prior to the first day of classes. And, I think I probably went to at least 5 or 6. They were all great times to be had, no doubt. But on the second or third of them, I think it was a Friday night, a big party at one of the spouses of one of the older medical students at their house. She was a veterinarian and he ended up going into family medicine just like I did. But it's always interesting how you're in medical school, you're poor, you're taking out loans, and spouses who have a real job, especially a job in healthcare, they're raking in the dough, right? So it was at their house on one of the tree-lined streets of where I went to medical school. And so there was a big party mixer at her place, his place and her place there. You had to break the ice. I think of this song as an icebreaker. Everybody knows who has seen the video, sees MC Hammer jumping around, frolicking in these big kind of jump pants. And he made those pants, famous. And actually, you can still buy them today on Amazon. I guess I had no idea. People call them MC Hammer pants, but he made those pants iconic. And so if you look at the video for You Can't Touch This, he's jumping around, and the pants really make it seem very fluid and actually make the song unforgettable and put this video stamp on it. So everybody kind of was starting to size everybody out in the first year incoming class in 1990 at one of these mixers, and somehow word got around that I was a really good dancer, and shameless self-plug here. Yes, I think I am a good dancer. People who work with me right now want to see me dance, and you'll never do it. And if you want to, you'll have to pay me a lot of money. So just, think about that. So I foolishly told a lot of people that, oh yeah, I can do the hammer dance, and it's going to be a trip. Just come and watch me dance. So I really didn't think anything of it until, I would say roughly pretty much the entire class was there. And toward the middle of the get together, we had just, people were kind of, winding down before, after you ate, before you drank and sit down and kind of went into your little cliques by the pool or, in the adjoining pool house, that kind of thing. They're like, hey, Michael, we heard you were a great dancer and that, you could really dance like the best of them. MC Hammer, I guess. I don't know. And then all I remember thinking is like, oh, man, holy, because I didn't want to get out there and do that. It was, and actually, even if I thought I would, it was going to be like really quick or whatever because everybody else is dancing. Well, that didn't happen. So somebody actually puts on this song, You Can't Touch This. They clear out the space in the living room, which at that time at his house kind of abutted the kitchen and the deck. So there's this kind of wide space, and I was in it and nobody else was. And they're like, go, 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 do the hammer dance or whatever they were saying. So I was trapped. They were playing the song and a little bit nervous, but when I got into it, it just really took over and it was silent, and I danced for what seemed like, hours, but it was only like 3.5 minutes. And then after that, everybody clapped, and my reputation, I guess, as it was, as a dancer, this kind of hip hop, new jack singer guy, was pretty much known with every party that we had since then. And I remember our pre-graduation party. I got up and danced because people remembered that 3.5 years ago. So it was really, really cool. And every time I listen to that particular MC Hammer track, it just takes me right back to late summer 1990 at our second or third preschool get together, and I had a blast. And as far as listening to that song, I probably listen to it 3 or 4 times a year, I guess, and passively if it comes on the radio, and I just have to stop and listen to the whole thing. Sometimes I might search it out on YouTube and watch the video, but it's one of those happy songs that I think it pulled a lot of people together. With respect to MC Hammer, and actually it's Stanley Burrell, he got his name because apparently he looked like Hank Aaron. I guess you can kind of judge for yourself here. But MC Hammer, who had put out an album before this one, really knocked it out of the park with the mainstream. And this song never hit number 1. It actually hit number 8 on the pop charts. And the reason why is that it only was out in a 12-inch single. It wasn't a, ubiquitous cassette single or 45 or a CD single, I guess, in those days, mid-1990. Radio, it was a number 1 airplay track, but just not enough sales to propel it into a number 1 spot. But it doesn't matter. It was one of those top 10 songs that should have been a number 1 song. And I can think of another one right now, Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. That song hit number 9 when it came out in 1981. So, it doesn't matter. It's a great song. People know what it is. It's invariably linked to my life and the way you just heard. And for that, it's awesome. I love it. So let me know in the comments what you think about, that song, if you liked it too. And if you like what you see today, please like and subscribe. It helps me, it helps you, it helps me bring you the content that you're getting right now if you really like it. And it's good for the YouTube algorithm, I guess. If you like it, it ranks higher, it's more recommended. I'm just getting started, but do what you can. And I'll keep bringing all of my little stories about what music has meant to me in my entire life to you. As usual, as the late Barry White used to say, let the music play.